the latest in the long line of Disney animated films turned into live action features, just premiered on Disney Plus. Let's talk about Peter Pan and Wendy. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free, although you probably know the story, review for Peter Pan and Wendy, which just had its premiere on Disney Plus. It is the latest, of course, in a very long line now of the live-action remakes of Disney animated classics. Of course, The Little Mermaid will be next. That one premiering in, I think, just a few weeks, right, in movie theaters. And this one was supposed to go to theaters originally, but because of COVID, it sort of shuffled the scheduling of filming a little bit, and anyway, they decided to premiere it on Disney Plus instead of a theatrical release. We will get to all the specifics of the film in just a moment, but first, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great movie and TV reviews on the channel. I try to post something just about every day for you to check out, and please consider subscribing down below too. Would love to have you aboard there. All right, so speaking of going aboard, yes, it's time to talk about Peter Pan and, the meeting of Captain Hook and all of that. This is the story that you generally know. It is, of course, Wendy Darling. Let me give you some of the names here because the children you most likely will not be familiar with. Ever Anderson is playing Wendy Darling here, and Alexander Maloney, another newcomer, is Peter Pan. There are some names that you will recognize in this movie. Captain Hook, played by Jude Law, who has been, really fairly. I don't know. He's in this stage of his career where he's just having fun, and I think this is why he kind of chose this role. Many actors of sort of this certain age get to the point where they're just like, you know what? F it, let's just have a good time. Maybe I'm not going to go for these Oscar-winning roles. Jude Law I kind of picks the projects lately I think that, I don't know, he just seems like he can have fun with, and I think he does that here. Jim Gaffigan plays Smee. You've got Alan Tudyk in a smaller role as Mr. Darling, but of course he is a Disney staple lately. And then Yara Shahidi from the Grownish and Blackish series, Tinkerbell, is who she plays. So, all right, and this is the story that you know and love, or I don't know if you love it. I think it's fine. The animated movie's decent. It obviously is a bit problematic with some of its portrayals, and certainly the one song very racist. So I guess let's start there with the songs and really some of the changes before we get to the good and the bad specifically of this movie. So there are a couple of songs in this movie, but none of them are from the original. They've dropped all of those songs. There is an instrumental version of I forget what the song is called. We can fly or something. When they do fly for the first time, the score sort of swells up. And plays an instrumental version of that as a little nod. But the other couple of songs in here are new. And the length of time here for this movie is a good bit longer than the original movie, partially because, most of those early Disneys really were like, 80 minutes, 75 minutes. And Peter Pan, I don't think was extraordinarily short, the animated version, but it's definitely longer. And as a result, we get some extra backstory with Peter Pan and Captain Hook. We also get, which I actually found pretty interesting. I liked that portion, and that's one of the things I liked about the Beauty and the Beast remake as well. They sort of fleshed out. Disney's doing this thing with a lot of their live action remakes. Maleficent, I guess, is the prime example, but a lot of these have been doing let's make the villain a little less, mustache twirly villainy just to be a bad person, and let's dive into why they're like this. Let's figure out what the motivation is or whatever. And we saw it in Cruella, of course. So that this sort of continues that path. But I kind of liked it. I sort of liked where they went with it. And then this is certainly more of a girl power story. Tiger Lily, who I think has been a little bit maligned in the original, but then in the horrible Pan movie from, I think that was 2015. Had Rooney Mara play Tiger Lily, and there was an outcry there for whitewash casting and all of that sort of stuff. So Disney, I think, did right by Tiger Lily this time. Alyssa Wapanatak plays her, and as you might be able to tell from the name, that's pretty appropriate casting this time around. And so she, gets, her due. But also there's not a Wendy versus Tinkerbell kind of, you know, cat fight sort of thing that we had in the original either. Tink is, one of the team here. Yeah, this is a little bit of a, a more realized version of these characters. So that's fine. The story itself is what it is. If you like the story of Peter Pan, I think this will scratch maybe an itch that the 2015 Pan, which again was horrible, didn't do. In fact, I would say, well, I can't say maybe this is the best live action version because I do like Hook. I think it's way too long. I think it takes too long to get to the main stuff. But Julie Roberts, Robin Williams. I mean, that's a classic. I didn't actually watch it till I was into adulthood, but I enjoy that movie. This one maybe is a little bit on par with that. But here are the two biggest issues I had with it. I don't think that Peter Pan, the boy playing him, Alexander Maloney, I don't think he is a particularly charismatic or even good actor. He's all right. But you have Jude Law, who again is clearly having a good time with this role. Maybe hamming it up a little bit. But he's still Jude Law. He's still a good actor. And all of the other kid actors, really. And I will say maybe one issue is yes, they've given us a diverse cast of children actors. But we don't really spend any time with any of them, and I didn't really expect to, so I can't chalk that up as a negative. But it's nice to have casting of all these people from all over the place, and not just, oh, here's some white kids, and there's girls in the mix too, where traditionally it's been all boys in those roles, but. So, it's great, but yeah, we don't really spend any time with any of them. But again, I didn't necessarily expect to. So, but yeah, Peter is not a particularly charismatic lead, which, when he's one of the title stars, it sort of is not the best. And then the other thing is, this is so super CGI'd up and does not look particularly great. As a result, this was directed by David Lowery, who did a great job with not the Jungle Book, Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon, of course, was sort of a smaller Disney movie. It's not an amazing success like some of the others. So I think it was a short, like a really short movie, like an hour. So I think they were able to kind of do what they needed to do there. And Lowry, I thought, did a really good job. And I will say, one of the great parts of CGI of this movie is the crocodile. I thought the crocodile looked really good, and whatever. So, okay, Pete's Dragon, the crocodile in this. So, obviously, Lowry has an eye for sort of character design and that kind of thing. But it looked almost in some places like motion capture, and not in a good way. Obviously, this movie doesn't have the kind of budget that like some of the like the Little Mermaid probably is going to have, but it just didn't look good in some places and was obvious in terms of they're just on a soundstage somewhere doing it, which we expect, but we don't expect to, I think, see the results of that. It was almost at some points I felt like I was doing the Ant-Man Quantumania thing again, where it's like it almost looks so ridiculous. But in any event, long story short here, This is a sort of middling, benchmark here. I mean, the bar has been set so low with some of the recent ones, like Pinocchio. I gave an okay grade to. I think maybe a C or a C plus. But in retrospect, it wasn't very good, especially after I watched the Del Toro Pinocchio a couple of months later. But the second Maleficent was very bad. Cruella, I did not particularly care for. So this is not as good as a lot of the ones that came before. Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, I really liked. The Jungle Book, Pete's Dragon, to name a few. But it's definitely watchable. I think some of the adventure scenes are fun, but its problems are are evident. But overall, I think this is a good family watch. Might have been more interesting to see in a theater, perhaps. But in any case, I will give Peter Pan and Wendy a B minus. I know a bunch of negatives there, but the story is still the story. It's still great. And Jude Law clearly having a great time, so that was good too, and certainly much better than that horrible Pan from 2015. So, I think a B minus sits right there, sort of in that middle ground of the Disney remake. So we will see in a few weeks how the Little Mermaid stacks up in that capacity. It's if you watch my channel regularly, you know that I've never seen the original Little Mermaid. So maybe I should watch that finally before I dive into the new one. No pun intended. That might be a good way to go about it. But in any event, I think that is the last Disney live action remake that's on tap. That's like officially has a date and stuff. There's probably others. Well, I guess they're making that Snow White, right? That's been, I don't know if that's still on or not, but I know they had announced that a little bit ago. But anyway, thank you for watching Dan Reviews It. We'll see you next time.